So you decided to become a plantaholic and you bought a whole bunch of plants, and now you're noticing that they aren't doing too well, and some probably have already died in your care. Well, in this video, we'll go over some of my general rules and best practices on how to keep your houseplants alive and turn you from a plant killer to an ex-plant killer. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who's new, my name is Christian and I'm the Crazy Plant Guy. On this channel, I do mostly plant videos. Sometimes I'll throw in sneakers and sometimes reactions, but lately it's all been about plants, and that's because you guys love them, hence the reason why you clicked on this video. Before we get started, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Crazy Plant Guy. That's where you'll find me every day doing daily posts as well as Insta stories, vlogging pretty much every day about my daily plant life. So if you want to be part of that, be sure to follow me. In fact, some of the best practices and guidelines I'll be sharing with all of you are suggestions from some of my Instagram followers. There is a large plant community on IG as well as there is on YouTube, so those are great resources to find out anything and everything about plants. With that said, let's get started. And in fact, my number one rule on how to keep your plants alive is to do your research. And what I mean by that is understand the environment you have, understand the lighting conditions you have, and then from there, understand the type of plants that will thrive in your environment. And what I mean by that is plants plus more plants from IG said it best here. Before going to the nursery and buying all the plants you see on Instagram or YouTube, know the type of lighting you have at your home first. Then research what type of indoor plants can thrive in that lighting situation. Watering and providing humidity are factors you can be more flexible with and learn over time, depending on the environment you have in your area or in your home. However, lighting is something you can't change at your current space. Lesson learned for me, for sure. So what she means by that is, once you have an idea on the type of lighting environment you have, it will be easier for you to then determine the kind of plants to get and the kind of plants that will thrive in that lighting environment. So if you have a north-facing window, it does limit you from the type of plants you can own or that will thrive in that lighting condition, especially if you live in the northern hemisphere. Unlike if you have a south-facing window or east or west, you do have more options because there are a lot more plants that thrive under those lighting conditions. With that said, sometimes just because you have a south-facing window, it doesn't mean that you get a lot of bright light that comes through because maybe there's a building blocking your window or your window's not as large. Then that's important for you to also understand, because a great example is, a guy like this, the Pelia, they thrive well in bright light. So I put this guy about 2 feet away from my large south-facing window. I got no building blocking me, and so he thrives well there. Now, if I had a small window and there was a building blocking me, I would probably have to put him 1 feet away from the window to just get that extra light. But the one thing to keep in mind when it comes to lighting as well is you never want to put your houseplant in direct sunlight, because that will create sunburn for them and it's not good for them. I know we think naturally like, hey, plants need sun and they need bright light, but avoid putting them in direct sunlight. It's just a really good rule of thumb to not do that. Now, certain plants can thrive well in low to medium light, like the snake plant. This guy, although he thrives well in bright light, he can do okay and pretty good in low to medium light. So if you do have one of those windows that are fairly small, or you have lighting that just doesn't reach as far back, then that's the type of plant that will do well in that lighting condition. Now let's talk about watering. So watering is often a tricky one because overwatering is actually the #1 killer of plants because they do cause root rot. And a couple of suggestions here from some of the IG followers. We'll start with Jessica Jungle. I think learning what your actual plant and your actual environment needs rather than what the tag says it should require is huge. Would it be nice to water everybody on Sunday and be done for the week? Hell to the yeah. Does real plant life work that way? Not so much. Most of them show signs when they need water or more light. Watch them every day so you see their changes and recognize them, good or bad. So what she means by that is not all plants are created equal when it comes to watering. So for example, this pennyworth loves to be watered and thrives in a moist soil condition. So I actually water this guy every 3 days. But again, a guy like the snake plant doesn't need to be watered every 3 days or every week. In fact, I water this guy every 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, because he is one of those plants that don't need to be watered often. Or when it comes to the photos, this guy needs to be watered every week. Again, it all depends on the type of plant you have, so that goes back to my #1 rule, which is again to do your research and find out the type of plants you have and the type of watering they need. Now, sometimes you doubt yourself, because I think as beginners and newbies, you want to overwater and you want to water your plants because you want to make sure that they're going to be good and healthy, but it's actually probably best to underwater than overwater. The plant visual said it best here. My general rule is, when in doubt, wait a couple of days before watering. Plants tend to bounce back from slight dehydration, but overwatering can really cause some serious damage, such as root rot. And that is actually very, very important rule. And I would agree with that. I mean, when in doubt, just wait till he's dry before watering. And you can typically tell when your plant is dry is either the soil, the topsoil is dry, or the first inch is dry. Or when your plant tends to droop, the leaves tend to droop, that means they're really getting dehydrated. And what the plant visual is saying here is they can tend to bounce back up after once you water them. So the zebra plant is known to do that quite often, because these guys, they're very temperamental when it comes to watering, right? So I've forgotten about this guy a few times now where his leaves completely were down and he looked almost dead. But as soon as I water this guy, he bounces back up to life. The same thing with the Fittonia, does the same thing. So again, I think it's best to underwater your plant than overwater, because overwatering, again, that is the #1 plant killer. So when in doubt, just wait till he's completely dried out and then water the guy. Another way to help create or to make sure that you don't risk root rot is to create drainage. So OK from Instagram said it best here. Drainage is one of the most important things. Make sure whatever pot you buy has a drainage hole or holes in the bottom. It hurts to pass a beautiful pot just because it doesn't have a drainage hole, but this is so important for the health of the roots and long life of mostly all plants. Very, very important. Again, you never ever want your plants sitting in water, and the way to avoid that is to make sure that your pots that you get for your plants has drainage holes underneath in order for the water to go through when you're watering this guy. Unfortunately, most pots don't have drainage holes, so what you can typically do is drill holes underneath them. Or what I do is I actually put my plants in the nursery pots they came in that has drainage holes, or when he needs to be repotted into a larger size, I get a pot that has drainage hole, similar to what he has here right now, and then I get my decorative pot and put him in there. That is what I do with most of my plants. When I water this guy, I either take him out and water him and allow the water to come through, or I'll keep him in here and I water him, and then I will dump the excess water out. Again, you never ever want your plants sitting in water because it will create root rot and your plants will die. So yeah, I would say that that's very important. That's a good suggestion from OK. Another way to also create drainage is with the soil. So when you're repotting your plant or transplanting it, I never put mine in 100% potting mix because I like to mix a bit of cacti soil, maybe like a half or a third depending on the plant. What that does is it creates drainage with the soil because cacti soil have a lot more drainage. So that's what I typically do with all my plants, and that does help create drainage. Another way as well is if you don't have one of these pots that has drainage hole and you want to plant them in your decorative pot that doesn't have drainage holes, I would suggest is either put rocks on the first layer to kind of create a separation between where your plant's going to sit and the bottom of the pot, so that way when the water goes through, it is sitting where the rocks are and not where your roots of the plant are. So that's another way to also help create drainage. But yeah, I think those are some pretty good suggestions on how to keep your plants alive. So now let's talk about bugs and infestation. The reality is if you are going to have indoor houseplants, you will come across bugs and pests sooner rather than later. The most common ones are those gnats, and they are typically those little black flies that hang around or inside the soil of your plants, and they're created because your soil is either wet or moist. So again, another reason why it's important for you to create drainage for your houseplants, as well as to not overwater, to avoid getting those gnats flying around in your home. And if in the event that you do end up getting them, a way to get rid of it that's worked well for me is actually putting leftover house wine in a glass and putting it around where your plants have gnats. And the gnats will typically be attracted to the sweetness of the wine, so they will go inside and drown. That's worked well for me. Another home remedy that's worked well for others is getting apple cider vinegar and then putting a bit of dishwashing detergent soap. Again, the gnats will be attracted to it and drown. So, or just get one of those bug spray that's safe for your plants at your local garden center. Those always work. So we covered research, environment, lighting, watering, drainage, bugs and infestation. And I think the only other advice I can offer out there on how to keep your plants alive is have love and passion and respect for plants, because I think when you do, you will do whatever it takes to make sure that they stay alive. They are living things, so it does take a lot of time and effort and care, and it is a big responsibility. So make sure that you are prepared for that and that you are doing it for the right reason. With that said, I know from experience and from myself that I get a lot of joy on being a plant owner, and I encourage everyone to try and be a plant owner. But again, just do it for the right reason, because oftentimes we see a lot of people getting plants for the wrong reason, and whether because they saw it on Instagram and they thought it looked cool and they thought it would look cool in their home, and at the end of the day they had no idea what the plant was or the environment or the care it needed, and it ended up dying, and that's something we never want to see. So yeah, I mean, that's probably my general rules and guidelines on how to keep your plants alive. But for all of those plant lovers out there and plant enthusiasts, if you have other suggestions to the newbies, be sure to comment below, share your experiences. I know everyone likes to read the comments, and I know I always learn something new from all of you guys as well. So yeah, other than that, I will see you guys soon. Oh, before I go, if you do want to be part of my plant life, because I am there every day, more so than YouTube, Instagram, follow me, Crazy Plant Guy. That's where I post daily and I vlog daily. So if you do want to be part of that, make sure you follow me there. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys soon. Good night. Peace.